What is up? It is Miguel from Run With It, and we're here for another episode of the Art Can Change the World series. We're here in North Kansas City, and we're at the iWorks building, and we're with my friend David Brown from Event Techs. And so, David, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do in the arts world?
Well, Event Techs, we are a company that specializes in labor and equipment for live events. So we provide people, we provide audio, video, and lighting equipment, and really any live event that you have, that's where we live. Churches, schools, corporate functions, concerts. If it's live, we're there.
Right on. And you've been known to rent some stuff to bands, maybe like...
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's something that we need to do more of, connect with more bands.
Well, diving into this idea of art can change the world, I'd love for you to share a story or two of how art has impacted you personally.
My life is art. Like, honestly, I remember my introduction to music. I was 5 years old, and my dad comes home with the piano, and my mom freaks out. She's like, "Where did you get that piano? Did you steal it?" And my dad's like, "No, I didn't steal it." He's like, "I met this guy, and it was on the curb, and he said, I'm going through a divorce, and I just want the piano to have a good home. The rest of the stuff I don't care about." And so my dad brought it home. And my dad said something that I didn't get at the time. I said, "Dad, why did you get me a piano? I didn't ask for a piano." He said, "Well, son, in life you need options, and you never know. You might be at a point in your life where you need to play music to make ends meet. And you have this piano so you can take lessons, and then you go out and you just have that skill." And what I didn't know is that my life was going to be centered around the arts. We are what I like to call a digital arts company. Yes, we do live events, but the reason we do it is because of the digital arts aspect of it. Lighting, video, sound equipment, all of it is increasingly digital. And so if you're an artist, your mode of creating art is changing. And we want to be on the forefront of that change. We want to be the company that you come to when you need help figuring out how to get your idea out to the world.
It's cool. I love how that moment of an actual piano sparked this, but here you are. I've known you doing photography, video, all sorts of things in the arts world, and just the interconnectedness of artistic endeavors is amazing. It's cool to see how that sparked it for you.
It absolutely is. I think every artist, they have a journey. There's a point where you get attached to art where it kind of knocks on your heart and says, "Hey, let me in a little bit." And so then you open the door to art and you kind of start to look at the world a little differently. But just like any relationship, it grows. And so you may start off as a songwriter, but along the way, you might fall in love with poetry because the two are so closely related. And you may see something, the way a poet is presented, either in still photography or in a video, and you might say, "Oh, I want to express my art like that." Yeah. And now you've taken a detour in the photography or in the videography. And so I think now more than ever, as artists, we have the ability to just transcend whatever that initial medium is, whatever that initial form of expression is. The level of technology that's around us every day is stunning. Oh, yeah. The amount of things that you can get done with your cell phone is staggering. So as an artist, why limit yourself? Why just be a songwriter? Why just be a performing musician? Why just be a sculptor? You don't have to.
Yeah. Well, that's a good friend of mine. His name's Odd, and he's a professional poet, tours around doing poetry, but he fell in love with photography. And now when I follow his Instagram, I see these photos coming down. I'm like, man, that's gorgeous. And He's on the road all the time.
Right.
So it's perfect. He gets to capture images that a lot of people from where he's from wouldn't often see, and he can bring that to him. It's pretty cool.
And see, that's the beautiful thing about photography. That's how I got into photography. It was a way for me to be able to create art by myself. Because yes, I started off playing piano, then I started playing saxophone, but I wasn't good at either one. And it did not take me long to realize I just don't have what it takes to dedicate myself to this. And so then I started doing sound, and I started working in recording studios, started doing live sound. Those endeavors are great, but as a sound guy, you're totally dependent upon other people. Mm-hmm. in your creative process. I can sit there at a mixing board, but with no band, I've got nothing to do.
Yeah.
And photography was that way for me to create totally for me, totally in isolation, when I want to, on my own terms. And I started doing the same thing. I'd be out on the road going to shows, and it's like, I've got a couple of hours of downtime. Let's go explore. Let's go see what's around. And photography is just wonderful for just being able to capture the beauty that's around you and also kind of decompress. It kind of feeds the introverted part of me.
That's awesome. It's cool to hear the progression, man, from piano to, can't really play that as well. Let's do some other things that you're doing phenomenal. Would you mind sharing a story or two of how you've seen art impact or change somebody else?
I've seen art impact and change a lot of people. And that's where my love for video really came in. The impact of a well done video can be life changing. You look at someone like Ken Burns, who can take history that seems uninteresting and unengaging, and he can draw you in. And that's where I really started to see it. I started to see it in well done documentaries. But the more I work with churches, the more I work with bands, the more I realize that everyone has a personal story. And when you tell someone's personal story well, it is unlike any other form of media. It engages you emotionally, visually. You're engaged by the sounds that you craft with that video. And I'm in a unique position because my progression with art has taken me through all these different areas, starting with sound, then moving into stills. I've been, a lighting designer, and just having all those skills to bring to video, it's like now I just need a well-crafted story, a story that's engaging, and those are all around us. It's the art of talking to people. If you can sit down and talk with someone, and if you can sit down and really connect with them in person, you get a magnificent story out of that. And capturing that on video can be life-changing. And I've seen it happen so many times.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, thanks for sharing your story with us. Why don't you let the folks know we have a lot of followers from Kansas City, but and throughout. So I know you travel as well. So why don't you let them know where they can find your company and what you guys do?
The easiest way to find us is online. We're at www.eventtexkc.com. And there you'll find email addresses, phone numbers, all of that. We're also on Facebook at EventTex. You should really look us up. We are actively going out there and trying to meet artists. We're actively trying to find bands just to have conversations with, churches, schools, anyone that needs help with that digital expression of their art. That's who we're looking to help. So please drop us a line. We'd love to talk to you.
Well, David, thanks again, man. And thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Art Can Change the World.